Well, it is 4:08 a.m. on November 10th, 2016, and I'm about to answer some questions posed to me by the few people still checking videos out on the TJ Does Life channel. First question is, do you have a favorite piece of classical music? Yeah, I enjoy Ride of the Valkyries by Wagner. Um, I like all I like the Imperial March from Star Wars. I know it's not classical in the sense that it's really old, but it's classical in style. Furelise, I like that. Midnight Sonata. I mean, I'm not a huge classical music fan, so you're not going to get anything too obscure from me. But a lot of those very famous pieces of classical music I like Ode to Joy, but mostly just the really famous part. You know, the dun 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 dun. I like it. I can get into it. What do you say if one of your loved ones wants to die? I want to openly respect his opinion, but I don't know how to express my acceptance without overshadowing the love I've got for him. Also, what are your thoughts towards the newer Doritos flavors? I think they're way too spicy. um, I don't know. I haven't tried any of the new Dorito flavors. I didn't even know there were any. Um, what do I say? What do you say to a loved one who wants to die? I mean, I would, you know, I don't know if you have to respect that opinion necessarily. I mean, I think that it's a good thing to argue that. I don't think you should necessarily, someone you care about tells you like, man, I just want to end it all. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can respect that they feel that way, but that doesn't mean you have to agree with them wanting to do that. Um, you know, you're certainly not doing them any harm by uh, just pointing out that that's stupid. You're gonna die one day anyway. Why not just wait? Things could improve in the interim. I mean, obviously, people who are suicidal, if they really want to do it, they're going to do it eventually, regardless of what you say. But I don't know. You might as well express your displeasure. I'm sure that you don't want them to die. What's your favorite Ghost BC album? Uh, you know, the only one I've actually listened to from start to finish as an album is Meliora or Meloria. I don't know how it's pronounced even. Um, but man, I've listened to a shit ton of songs from all their albums. I just don't remember what songs are on what albums because I've usually just listened to individual songs on YouTube. Haven't really sought out the albums and sat down and listened from beginning to end. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna say Meliora. I think that's how it's pronounced. Is there anything you disagree with George Carlin about? Yeah. I mean, he's talked shit before about aliens helping to build ancient civilizations. Basically, that um, you know, um, or space exploration. Yeah, space exploration. Also don't think we agree on that. He called NASA nassholes. He was kind of one of those guys like we got to fix our problems down here before we go up there. Um, no, I don't think so. So yeah, it was. On one hand, he was saying that the aliens have helped us build pyramids, but then on the other hand, he's saying that we shouldn't go searching for aliens because they might not want anything to do with us. Um, I think if there is a reason we shouldn't go searching for aliens, um, you know, then Sorry, I guess I spaced out there. What do you think of Alec Baldwin's Trump? I think it's funny. I don't think they always write the best lines for it, but I think the caricature is pretty funny. It's the nastiest shit you've ever done. Um, I mean, nastiest in what sense? Because there's definitely different ways that could be taken. Um, I guess. No, I mean, I really can't even narrow it down. I guess I took a shit in a cat litter box once just to see what it would feel like when I was a kid. I just kind of had this strong urge, like I want to shit in that litter box. I want to see what it's like for to just shit in some sand, and I did. And I don't know. I guess it wasn't bad, but it's not an experience I've ever repeated since then. So you know. Leafy lives in Seattle, from what I've heard. Would you be willing to contact him to go on DP? I really don't want to deal with that. I love your videos, TJ, and I think you're one of the smartest people I've ever heard, but I find your main argument against vegans/vegetarians to be rather stupid. So my question is, who are the brilliant that you love but find some of their beliefs to be fucking retarded? Um, I feel like I have an advantage over you in that I can disagree with somebody without thinking that they must be retarded. Like Christopher Hitchens. Um, he supported the war in Iraq. I think it was a terrible decision. I think it's one of the biggest foreign policy blunders in American history. Um, he advocated for it. He made arguments in favor of it. And you know what? The arguments he made in favor of it were about the best arguments that I've heard anyone make for it. You know, I didn't agree with those arguments. I thought they were wrong. I didn't think they were retarded just because they were wrong. You know, maybe my arguments on veganism and vegetarianism are retarded. I don't know. I think that it seems very logical to me. I'm not gonna make them again because obviously you've heard them. You're not persuaded by them. That's fine, but I really don't think they're. I don't see them as retarded arguments. Obviously, I don't. I would think that even if someone disagreed with them, they would be able to do more than just label them retarded. Like they'd actually be able to formulate some sort of counter argument. Since you are bisexual, what do you like about a guy aesthetic-wise, like a big cock or feminine features, that kind of thing? I too am bisexual. I'm very fascinated by large cocks, for sure. Feminine features, those can be nice. Masculine features can be nice too. Don't really have a type. I mean, bears, twinks, muscular dudes. Guys who are girly, guys who are manly. Not even really penis size matters that much. I don't know. I don't find that it's that big of a deal for me. Aesthetics, not because there's no sort of person I don't like, but because whether I like a person's appearance or not doesn't seem to have a lot to do with the traditional things that people look at in terms of desirability. I'm not necessarily looking for a certain body type or a certain, appearance, whether it be, ruggedness or youthfulness or any of those things. I'm really just looking for a person that I find intriguing visually, and that could be done in any number of ways. I have a fairly broad range of features I find attractive, so it's not a very overly specific thing that attracts me to somebody. Hey TJ, I'm 16 and bisexual. I want to come out, but one of my good friends is slightly right-leaning Is it worth coming out and possibly lose a friendship? Any tips coming out? I always avoided these sorts of dilemmas by not having friends. So I'm not exactly sure. I would say, and maybe this is just my antisocial personality coming out, I would say that if someone can't accept something as simple as your sexuality, then maybe they're not that great of a friend. Um, I would think that a real friend would not, say, "Oh, well, you're bisexual. Fuck that. I can't hang with you." Doesn't really seem like much of a friend. Um, Even if he disagrees with that, we'll call it a lifestyle. Um, it doesn't. Why give up on a good friendship just because of that? Do you really hate someone so much because they, have an attraction that you don't share? Seems very strange. Um, I see that someone in the replies said much the same thing. Someone said if he can't accept you being bisexual, then he was a shit friend to begin with. I have to kind of agree. That seems reasonable. Even if he has a problem with bisexuals, why take it out on you? If YouTube decided to go full SJW and does not allow your videos to make money, what site will you go to make videos, or what will you do? I worry for all the YouTubers that hold opinions that are different than the SJW agenda. I think you're right to worry, honestly. I think that there is a definite creeping sort of behind the scenes attitude at YouTube that increasingly seems to be conciliatory towards SJWs and their perspectives, and antagonistic towards people who argue against things like political correctness and language policing. I think that my contingency plan for if YouTube ever becomes too much of a bastion of censorship, I would think that I would go to Vimeo and I would start selling seasons of Amazing Atheist videos and just rely on direct purchases from people rather than relying on ad money. I may just push my Patreon and just take ads off my videos, because if YouTube will let me post videos but not necessarily monetize them, then I'll just have to push my Patreon hardcore and just be like, look guys, I don't make money off of YouTube anymore, so if you want me to keep doing this, it's going to be contingent upon your support. That's pretty much how it would have to be done, or something like that. I think that I'd have to switch from an advertising-based business model to a direct consumer to relationship, like where I'm just selling my content directly to the users, which maybe is even preferable in some ways. I don't know. But hopefully I'm not going to be forced to make that choice by some horrible decision made by YouTube. Okay, so now I'm going to answer another question. Hey, TJ, porn, smiley face. But in all seriousness, I'm a novice artist and I make erotic 3D renders, as well as written erotica based on mostly video games, but also other things. Although I've not released any of the latter, I hope to in the near future when I've grown more confident in my writing. I have a porn blog on Tumblr, if you might be interested, and if so, I'm wondering what is the best to private message you the link so that you'll see it. I've only started creating content this past year, and I'm currently on hiatus while I build up a backlog, but I do and hope to cover all kinds of fetishes and kinks, so I thought it might be something you'd like. I know in the past you've talked about the porn blog you used to run as well as some of the ones that you followed, and that for the most part you like to keep that stuff relatively private. So for that reason, as well as many other of my own reasons, I'd rather send it to you personally so as to avoid unwanted attention. If you get around to this, what fetishes specifically are you into nowadays aside from big butts? I'm sure all of us would be curious to know. Thanks. I'm very interested in spanking. I'm always very interested in cannibalism art in the dulcet style, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to a Google image search and type in DOLCETT, and you'll get a general idea of what I'm talking about. There's a lot of ways that people can contact me. I've been sort of persona non grata in my social media as of late because of, I've just had internet trouble, not only here at home, but also my phone just shit the bed, and I had to replace it recently. But I would say, since you want to contact me on Tumblr, that's probably the best place. Just write me on my Tumblr. Or you could write me on my Amazing Atheist Facebook. I probably would see that as well. And I hope that this person, this Minxie, or whatever your name is, I hope you do contact me. I look forward to seeing some of your art. Why you so fat? It's a good question. It's a question I've asked myself for a long time now. I think that probably I'm so fat because I eat so much food and I don't exercise because I detest physical activity. Yeah. On your Reddit profile, I can see that you've been active on a sub about girls being served as food and eaten. Is this a confirmation of your cannibalism fetish has fully manifested at this point? I don't think it. I think it's been fully manifested for quite some time. Although I usually am more prone to fantasizing about myself in the position of the girls, but it's just easier to find porn of girls being served as food rather than men. And I can just as easily slip into either role as I'm looking at any kind of picture that depicts that sort of scenario, which I know a lot of people find a strange fetish, but whatever. I don't really give a shit at this point in my life. Are you a fan of eating ass? Well, this is obviously just another play on the whole cannibalism thing, but I am, in both senses. What was it like coming out as a bisexual male? Any advice? I didn't. I came out very slowly in public, and no one ever really seemed to have much of a huge, big, crazy reaction to it. When I told my mom and my stepdad that I was bisexual, they had some issues. I didn't talk to them for the better part of a year because of how pissed I was at the way they handled that. So there was some difficulties, but maybe it's just because I'm from the generation of millennials, even though I'm just barely in it. But I think I'm spoiled enough to where I can have the mindset that if you don't accept me exactly as I am without question, then fuck you. And maybe that's the attitude of a spoiled, petulant child, but that is my attitude. Do you believe Trump is racist? And if so, what has he said that is racist? I don't think that he's outright racist. I think he's said things that were designed to appeal to a racist voting bloc. I think that there were times, like, for instance, I think it was sort of racist when he said that the judge in the Trump University case might be biased against him because he had Hispanic heritage. To say that, to make a fucking assumption like that about someone based on their race, that is kind of racist. It may not be like outright going up to someone of Mexican heritage and being like "fuck you, wetback," but it's on the racism spectrum a little bit. when you act like most of the people immigrating to this country are murderers and rapists, I think that you're definitely playing up hysteria about Hispanic people. Um, because even if you're going to say illegal immigration is a legitimate problem, to characterize, oh, they're all rapists and murderers, that's silly. It's not true. Is the education system in the U.S. really as bad as it's claimed to be? If so, in what ways could it be improved? I think the American education system is pretty terrible. It's very different, though, depending on where you are in the country. If you're in a more liberal state, you're probably going to have better public schools. If you're in a more conservative state, you're probably going to have worse ones. As far as what could be done to improve the system overall, I think there needs to be less emphasis on memorization, the rote learning of facts, and there needs to be more emphasis on teaching critical thinking skills, skepticism, rationality. Instead of teaching people what to think or what facts they need to know, that can be important too, but the more important thing is to teach them how to think, how to critically evaluate, how to do their own research, how to make value judgments about what information is valuable and what information is not valuable. I think that we need to switch the focus more to that and less to, remember the dates of the Civil War or whatever. What do you think would happen first? Atheist president, Muslim president, or gay president? I mean, we've probably already had atheist presidents and gay presidents. Muslim president seems the least likely, considering we've probably already had atheist and gay presidents. But if somehow none of the fucking presidents have been secretly atheist or secretly gay, like let's say we're talking about someone who's openly an atheist, openly a Muslim, or openly gay, I would say probably gay. I think we would have a gay president before a Muslim or an atheist president. Are you concerned about the effect that daily weed use may have on your video content or even your long-term health? Well, there's plenty of creative people that use marijuana at a very consistent rate. Bill Maher, Snoop Dogg, Willie Nelson, Seth Rogen, whatever. There's tons of people out there, tons of creative people that use marijuana on a regular basis, and they're not, when I see Bill Maher hosting Real Time with Bill Maher, I don't agree with everything he says, and sometimes he says things I think are stupid, but I never fucking sit there and watch him like, oh my god, this guy is an idiot. He just smokes so much weed that his brain is rotted out of his skull. Never had that experience. Don't feel that way about Snoop Dogg. Don't feel that way about Willie Nelson. Don't feel that way about Seth Rogen. Don't feel that way about any number of people who are out there who are creative, who are stoners. And some people will say, well, look how low energy you are in this video. Well, it's fucking, it's 4:32 a.m. in the morning, and, I don't feel the need to put on a show right now. This is supposed to be freedom from the constraints of, I'm going to be the amazing atheist. I'm going to be so entertaining. I'm going to be so fucking fascinating. This is just me talking like a fucking human being. What is your main criticism of Donald Trump? I'm not sure at this point. This was an easier question to answer 2 weeks ago when you asked it than it is now, because everything that I've thought about Trump really has to be reevaluated, because I doubted that he was going to win any primaries, and he won a shit ton of them. I doubted that he was going to get the nomination of his party, and then he did. I don't think I doubted it quite as long as a lot of people did, but I did doubt it at first. And then I thought he was going to be president, but then when the polls started turning against him, I thought he wasn't going to be president. And then he is president. So it's like every time I say I'm going to count him out, he fucking pulls something off. And he won the presidency exactly the way he said he was going to, by the way. He said he was going to win Ohio. He did. He said he was going to win Pennsylvania. He did. He said he was going to win Florida. He did. He said he was going to win Michigan. I haven't seen that called yet, but I'm pretty sure he won Michigan. So, you know, I feel like I can't criticize Donald Trump anymore. I feel like I have to wait until he's done some things as president before I can criticize him, because obviously what he was doing on the campaign trail worked for him. What I thought was him being an idiot and fucking totally screwing the pooch, he was actually apparently some kind of fucking genius who knew exactly what the fuck he was doing. So I'm not gonna doubt Trump anymore. I feel like he's not to be underestimated. He may have a brash way of speaking, and you know, there's policies of his I don't like, but until I see how he actually governs, I don't think I can make any cogent criticisms of the man. Because everything I had 2 weeks ago would have been, oh, he's running his campaign like shit. Well, obviously he wasn't, because he won, or at least Hillary ran an even shittier campaign than he did. Hey TJ, I know you've touched upon this subject before, but what do you think about so-called liberal anti-SJWs being cucked by the right? Ones that are either wittingly or unwittingly kowtowing to conservatives, usually on a single issue, i.e. political correctness and or immigration, but become blind to all the other bullshit the right spews. Also, as an addendum, how do you feel about right-leaning atheist independents who defend Christianity to the point where they can't stand it if you even make an offhand remark? These are some of the people that believe that just because they think Islam is the worst issue, which I agree with for the most part, Christianity is now off limits somehow. Lastly, how is Seattle treating you? Blah, 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 blah. So the real question here is, I guess he's talking about people who become anti-SJWs, then they end up overlooking all of the fucked up things the right wing does. Yeah, that frustrates me too. I think that I myself must have been pretty frustrating when I overlooked so much of the horrible things going on the left. I feel like at this point I will criticize the left and the right, and at this point I don't really feel like there's much of a difference between them. Right now there's riots going on. Oh, Trump's bad, and we don't acknowledge Trump as our president and stuff. And I just remember 4 years ago it was the same deal. Obama's a communist. Obama was born in Kenya. He's not a legitimate president. It's like, oh my God, are we just going to do this over and over and over and over again? And neither side ever realizes that they look like fucking idiots. When the liberals go out in the street and say, not my president, they look like idiots. When the conservatives go out in the street and say, not my president, they look like idiots. They just look like idiots. Both sides look like complete and utter fucking tools. And they both seem blind and oblivious to it. Left and right. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, whatever distinction you want to make there, they all look fucking dumb. They all say dumb things. They all do dumb things. They all believe dumb things. They're both unscientific in different ways. I don't see the fucking big difference anymore. I don't fucking see the us versus them. I see them versus them, with me just wanting to escape this fucking planet. I'm ready for some aliens to abduct me and hopefully, give me a good solid anal probing. Let me forget about this bullshit. TJ, do you believe that humans have free will? As far as science can go, it can't answer this question yet, so I'm curious to see your take on the issue. Thanks. I've been asked this question so many times over the course of my time here on YouTube, and the main answer I have is that I really don't care. The second answer I have is that whether we have free will or not, the idea that we don't is so counterintuitive that, you know, discovering something to the contrary is almost just a meaningless fucking discovery. If I have to venture a guess, I would say that we do have some sort of free will, but it really depends on how broadly you're looking at it. Like, you know, if you're going to be a total determinist in terms of, you know, every fucking physical thing that's happening, including the neurons firing in your brain and shooting their chemical signals and shit, that's all contingent upon something that happened before that. So it's all cause and effect. So there's a causal chain that started at the beginning of time, and it's just, you know, going forward and forward and forward. And the sequence of events that's happening is just what was always going to happen. You know, I think that may be true. So how does free will fit into that? Well, I guess it really depends on how you define free will. It all comes down to a bunch of semantic bullshit at some point, which is why it really loses interest for me as a subject of discussion, because you got to sit there and define every fucking term. And you know, it almost ends up depending on how you define the term free will, how you define that concept. But the way I would define it, I say that it does exist, even though there is a physical determinism at play. Who are your favorite historical individuals and cultures? I don't care for cultures in general. As far as historical individuals, I do like Diogenes. I think he was great. It's too bad none of his writings survive to this day. Did you really shove a banana up your ass? Also, how it feel? I'm just curious. Winking tongue out face. Yes, I really shoved a banana up my ass. I didn't really shove it. I mean, I guided it in with a loving but steady hand, and it felt good. It felt tingly. It stimulated my prostate in a pleasing manner. Pink Floyd question: Animals versus the Wall. Well, I love concept albums, and I know Animals is a concept album as well, but The Wall is just like the ultimate fucking concept album. What's your going rate per video for advertising a product? With, I don't know, say a 2-year no disparagement clause. Okay, so this is in reference to Candid, I guess. What's my going rate? More money than you make, probably, I don't even know. Based on the fact that this is the kind of shit you care about, more money than you make in at least 3 weeks, something like that. Yeah. Yo, TJ, if you could interview any one person, who would it be? I should be the one being interviewed, not other people. How does it feel posting a video on this channel and getting 1/100th of the views an hour than on The Amazing Atheist? Like, is it annoying? It's not annoying. I mean, this channel hasn't been developed to the same extent. I mean, obviously, when I don't post on this channel very often, and one of the reasons I don't is because it's not profitable. It's just done out of a little labor of love. So this video, I'm not going to make any money off it. I'm just doing it as a gift to you, and if you don't like it, then I guess my gift sucks. What's the cringiest or most embarrassing thing you've ever done? I don't get embarrassed. Would you rather fight 1 Milo Yiannopoulos-sized duck or 50 duck-sized Milo Yiannopouloses? I'll take the 50 duck-sized Milo Yiannopouloses because I could eat them. That would be interesting. Would you call out to God in a falling airplane? Probably so. I apologize for that annoying cough. TJ, you look a lot like Scotty lately. I don't see it personally. I love you, TJ. My question is, will you ever do your Q&As where you let us submit video questions again? Well, maybe if YouTube still had its reply to feature intact, but it doesn't, so it seems really annoyingly difficult at this point. TJ, big fan here since forever ago, bro. I've noticed your content has switched from atheism to SJW bullshit slowly over the years. Do you feel like this feminazi SJW trend is out-trending the atheist thing? Are Christians less abrasive or vocal nowadays? Do you feel you've made a difference in the online community? I feel like most of the arguments for atheism have been made. Most of the Christian arguments have been refuted. I have not heard a religious argument in the last 5 years that I hadn't heard in the 5 years previous. So Christians are not bringing anything new to the table. Muslims are not bringing anything new to the table. No religious person is bringing anything new to the table. So it's kind of like, just, well, what is there to talk about? Now, there might come a time when it becomes important to take on the religious people again, and maybe Trump will usher that in. I don't know. I feel like the liberal hate machine is starting up again. It was running all throughout the Bush presidency. I feel like it's going to run all throughout the Trump presidency, however long that lasts. So it feels like I'll probably end up joining that liberal hate machine at some point. Right now, it's way too premature for me. I think these people out protesting in the streets before Trump has even done anything are idiots. But I have the feeling that Trump probably will do things that I'm against, and then I'll be able to join the liberal hate machine, take my rightful place, and then I get to, make a bunch of anti-right-wing content for, the duration of the Trump presidency. So that's fun. I got to do the atheist thing, I got to do the SJW thing, and I have a feeling that soon I'll be doing the anti-right-winger thing. But who knows? Who knows where this winding river that is YouTube will take me next? What do you think about spirituality? It's bullshit. Total bullshit. What drugs have you done before, and do you like any drugs besides weed? Yeah, I like mushrooms. I like acid. I like Klonopin. I like Ativan. Those are good ones. Can you/DP play an MMORPG with Brett Keane? No, I can just tell you no there. What happened to TJ Plays It All? Just didn't have time for it, I guess. What would Brett Keane have done to become the 5th official drunken peasant? I don't know. Maybe he'd suck my dick with his toothless mouth. I don't fucking know. Well, I think I'm gonna probably stop this here. I might return to this at some point in the near future and do some more, or it might be in the distant future, or it might be never. So it just depends. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little Q&A session we've had here. If not, then I don't know. Why'd you watch 38 minutes then? Doesn't make sense.